All right, welcome back to Soccer Matters here on ESPN 97.5 as we continue tonight here. The show, as always, is presented by John Daspit, the Daspit Law Firm. It's daspitlaw.com. John and his firm, personal injury attorneys, they will take your case. They also get soccer on the airwaves. And I do remember on a trip with my next guest, Tom Clare, John Daspit was down watching Chelsea while Tom Clare and I were watching Manchester United and Aston Villa at Old Trafford. And the legendary author, Tom Clare, who wrote the book, The Men Who Were the Busby Babes, joins me now. And of course, Tom has just come back from a trip to Munich, Germany, celebrating the 64th or remembrance of the 64th anniversary of the Busby Babes who perished in that horrible plane crash. He joins us now. Tom, how are you?
I'm wonderful, actually, Glenn. I'm recovered now after a long and arduous trip.
Yeah, you are a man of travel. There is no doubt. But look, I consider you the person in the world, really, that knows more about this infamous Busby Babes team that had that horrific plane crash. Your favorite player of all time, Duncan Edwards, perished sadly in this. Just tell me how deep you know this memory and this continues. You were a part of a big ceremony recently in Munich as well.
Yeah, it's a scar for any United fan of my of my era. We've carried it through these 64 years. I mean, if you could just think of what would happen to a fan today if they lost half their team in an air crash, the effect that would have not only on the team but on the city where it was situated. I flew over the week before last. I had a few days in Munich to do a few things that I wanted to do, but the commemoration service was done very, very respectfully. And the people of Munich and of the village of Kirchtrudering, where the memorials are, they're such wonderful people who keep the memorials well maintained. But there was around between 400 and 500 there this week, but the weather was bitterly cold, and that probably affected the attendance.
He's Tom Clare, the author of The Men Who Were the Busby Babes. Okay, so this was obviously Tom was just over there. Now you were a part of laying a wreath in the ceremony also, and I just would like you to take us through that.
Yeah, the wreath I laid was on behalf of the Satinoff family. Willie Satinoff was a man who travelled with the team. He went to all their European games, and he's always put down, remembered in the roll of honour as a fan. Well, he wasn't a fan. He was there as a member of the board. One of the board members had died the Saturday before, and the directors decided not to travel to Belgrade and to stay in Manchester and attend Mr. Whittaker's funeral. So Willie went out there representing the board, and it's always been a bone of contention with me that he never gets the recognition that he deserves. So I've been very vocal. As you remember, I had the plaque put above the door of the Supporters Association. And now, he will be remembered every year as an individual, which is right and proper.
He's Tom Clare, the author of The Men Who Were the Busby Babes. And I'm going to hold the book up again here for those watching this on the video. Tom's remarkable writing is to me is a documentation of the history of Manchester United. And for you to see this as a community team growing up and to turn into the corporate monster it is, I can't even imagine what's going through your lens.
Exactly. I mean, when I look back to those days, when it was a community club where there was this thing between the club, the supporters, the city. It's not there today. The owners don't do it any favors. It hurts. It hurts a lot. And of course, all those lads that perished in that tragic and those that died afterwards, they were all an integral part of the club and the image that the club had. And, that image is what we strive for today. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever see that again. But their memory will never, ever die while we have the supporters that we have.
Your memories and experiences are incredible. And of course, It goes back, I believe, to your grandfather, who was a supporter of Newton Heath, which was the original name of Manchester United. I see the smile on your face, I mean, that's just remarkable to me.
He was a remarkable man, though, Glenn. That was the thing. What I am today is what he molded. He was my, he was the man I modelled my life on. He was a wonderful guy. He started going to Newton Heath in 1898. And he was there in 1902 when they changed the name to Manchester United. And between us at the moment, there's been one of us here for every single trophy that major trophy that Manchester United have won. But he was such a modest man. Apart from when you mentioned Manchester City, he had a real dislike of Manchester City. And I used to ask him, Grandad, when are we going to Main Road? And he'd say, when it's on fire or if United are playing.
He's Tom Clare, the author of The Men Who Were the Busby Babes, just returned from a ceremony marking the 64th anniversary of the Munich air disaster. You recounted to me how great the club Bayern Munich has been when it comes to making sure that the honoring and the remembrance of this incident is out there. Take me into that a little bit. I know you met Karl-Heinz Rummenigge and all these guys. Please take me into that.
Yeah, they are a remarkable club. But first of all, I'd just like to thank Justin Gardner from the Texas chapter of the Bayern Munich Supporters Association, who was very, very instrumental in setting up my visit to Bayern. But going there, they are a tremendous club. The Allianz Arena, absolutely incredible place to visit, and the museum it's terrific. And they also have a memorial inside the museum to Manchester United. And as Karl-Heinz said, that there is now such a bond between Munich and Manchester, apart from the rivalry on the field. And you see it, you see it there on Saturday evening at 5 o'clock in Marienplatz, which is the main square in Munich. Our fans were giving out United scarves to the Munich people as a token of appreciation of the friendship and the bond between the two cities. But going to the Allianz Arena to watch the match between Bayern and Leipzig, first against third, I mean, what a great game to go and watch. And believe me, it was enthralling. 5 goals in the game, footballers who could pass the ball, who knew what they were doing with the ball. But and to see such an open and a quality game, it brings me to this thing that they say, that the Premier League is the best in the world. Well, yeah, it might be the most competitive, but not the best, not from the football I saw last week. And as again, I mean, to watch players like Lewandowski and Thomas Müller, the goalkeeper there, but now I can't remember his name, but no, it's a different ball game. And another thing, Glenn, the price of the tickets, it's so good, it's so accessible for fans there. You can watch one of the Bayern games for the equivalent of about $4 or $5.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a season ticket holder there, and I could not believe the price of his season ticket. And of course, they get the corporate money, but that is one of the selling points of the Bundesliga. It is much more fan friendly than any other major European league.
It's the model that I would love the Premier League to be, to follow, but they'll never do it because all they're interested in is the money that rolls in.
Yeah, and then of course I think we go to the amount of German players that are playing that ultimately helps the national team of Germany.
Exactly. The Premier League was formed ostensibly to accentuate the class of our national team, but it went the other way. It opened the door, and I mean, you have a look at the number of British players now that are playing in the Premier League as against the foreign players, and it's obviously that the national team goes backwards.
Tom Clare, he's the author of The Men Who Were the Busby Babes. Tom, about 40 seconds I need from you on the legendary Jimmy Murphy.
Oh, what a man, Jimmy Murphy. I could stay in. He sat there with his pipe smoking, and he was a wonderful character. I remember one lovely story where He was with Ron Atkinson in Ron Atkinson's time at United, where they were watching a certain player, and Jimmy Murphy was sat with Big Ron, and Big Ron said, I don't think I can make my mind up on this guy. And Jimmy looked at him. He said, "Make your mind up." He said, "I made my mind up the minute he kicked a ball, and he's not good enough." I mean, I mean that was Jimmy. He could spot a player. You know, he was a wonderful character, very abrasive. And as I always say, Sir Matt maybe have been the draftsman, but Jimmy was the engineer who put the nuts and bolts together. And he was as much responsible for the rise of the Busby Babes as Sir Matt was.
Yeah, I know you've spoken about that throughout the times that you and I have met. And again, I can never thank you enough for the incredible trip you took me over to Old Trafford a couple years ago. Still indelibly etched in my mind to go through that city, driving in a car with you and you pointing things out, and George Best's store that he had, and those famous shots in front. I mean, it really was incredible. Are you ready, you and me, to do a Manchester tour business together, Tom? We can do it, man.
Yeah, we scratched the surface, Glenn. We just scratched the surface. There's a lot more there, don't we? You know, and I'm sure that we will get to do it.
Well, this is what football's about. Your experience with Manchester United and Bayern Munich, my experience, luckily crossing paths with you in life. A big thank you to you. He's Tom Clare. He's an author of many books, but I suggest right now, during this time period, The Men Who Were the Busby Babes. You get it on Amazon. Tom, thank you very much for coming on the show as always. You're a regular. I must have to put you on the payroll in the future.
My pleasure, Glenn. My pleasure.
All right. That's the wonderful Tom Clare. We're going to take a break here, brought to you by the Daspit Law Firm. John Daspit and the Daspit Law Firm, personal injury attorneys. Here's what you got to do. All you got to do is give them a call. 713-322-HURT. They'll take your case. They'll work 24/7, nights and weekends. It's John Daspit, the Daspit Law Firm, our presenting sponsors.